Picture this. I'm standing on the edge of a memory, where the scent of salt and the whisper of waves carve a story into my soul. My name is Chloe, and at 30, I've built a life that's steady, predictable, like the tick of a clock you stop noticing after a while. I'm married to Daniel, who's 32 and carries the ocean in his veins. When he speaks of the sea, his voice dances, his hazel eyes flare with a wild kind of light, like he's seeing horizons I can't even imagine. He's got tales from his teenage years, endless yarns of sailing through storms and chasing sunsets, and I've heard them so many times I could recite them in my sleep. Our marriage is a warm blanket, loving, safe, but sometimes I catch myself wondering where the electric charge of our early days slipped away to. It's not something I dwell on, not out loud anyway, but it's there, a quiet itch beneath the surface. We're not alone on this summer escape, though. Daniel's tight-knit crew is with us, a band of brothers who've been through thick and thin with him. There's Ryan, 31, with a grin that could charm the barnacles off a ship's hull. He's all confidence, a glint of mischief always lurking in his gaze, like he's planning something you'll regret falling for but can't resist. Then there's Ethan, 29, the quiet one. He's got this intense way of watching everything, like he's piecing together a puzzle no one else can see. You don't notice him at first, but when you do, you can't shake the feeling he's seeing right through you. And Marcus, 33, rounds out the group with a laugh that booms like thunder over the water. He's the storyteller, the one who fills every silence with larger-than-life tales, his energy pulling everyone into his orbit whether they want to be there or not. We've come to Seabury, a little coastal town that feels like it's been kissed by time itself. The boardwalks are weathered, splintered from years of salty breezes, and the air tastes of brine and forgotten summers. We roll into town with the windows down, the hum of the car mixing with the distant cry of gulls, and I can already feel the weight of routine lifting, just a little. Our rented beach house waits for us, its blue paint peeling like old skin. But there's a charm to its imperfections. It's a place that's seen laughter and secrets, and as we unpack, the guys' voices bounce off the walls. Marcus cracking a joke, Ryan tossing a playful jab, Ethan murmuring something only Daniel catches. The sound of it all wraps around me like a familiar song, and I let myself sink into the moment. That first day is pure magic. We spill out onto the beach, the sand warm and gritty between my toes, each grain a tiny reminder of how alive this place feels. We drag out beach chairs and coolers, setting up camp under the endless stretch of sky, and I can't help but let out a breath I didn't even know I was holding. The first few days at Seabury unfold like a dream I don't want to wake from. Every morning, I'm the first to the water, diving into the cool, salty embrace of the sea. The waves crash over me, sending goosebumps prickling across my skin as I plunge beneath the surface, the world above muffled and distant. It's like the ocean washes away every worry, every doubt, leaving me raw and renewed. I surface with a gasp, tasting salt on my lips, and catch Ryan's eye from the shore. He's already wading in, that sly grin of his flashing as he splashes me with a wave of icy water. "Gotcha, Chloe," he calls out, his voice teasing, playful, and I can't help but laugh, splashing back with all I've got, the two of us turning into kids again under the morning sun. Afternoons are lazy, sun-soaked affairs. I sprawl out on a towel, the heat baking my skin until it feels like I'm glowing from the inside out. I sip lemonade from a cheap plastic cup, the tartness cutting through the warmth, while the sound of the tide hums in the background. Marcus is usually nearby, sprawled out like a giant on his own towel, spinning some wild story about a fish he swears was the size of a small boat. His voice booms over the beach, drawing everyone in, and even though I know half of it's made up, I hang on every word, caught up in the rhythm of his tale. Ethan, though, he's different. He sits a little apart, his gaze fixed on the water, or sometimes on me, and it's unnerving, the way his eyes seem to linger. I shift under that quiet stare, suddenly hyper-aware of every movement, every breath, and I tell myself it's nothing, just my imagination playing tricks. Evenings are my favorite, though. We gather around a bonfire, the flames crackling and popping, casting flickering shadows across everyone's faces. The air smells of smoke and sea salt, and Marcus pulls out his old guitar, strumming lazy chords that weave through the night. His deep voice hums along, rough but warm, and it feels like the music ties us all together. Ryan's beside me, passing a cold drink, and I notice the way his smile lingers just a beat too long as he hands it over, his fingers brushing the edge of the can. I shake it off, chalking it up to the glow of the fire messing with my head. Ethan's on my other side, and when he hands me a stick for roasting marshmallows, his hand grazes mine, a fleeting touch that sends an unexpected jolt through me. I pull back quick, busying myself with the fire, telling myself it's just the night, the closeness, nothing more. Then there's a moment that changes everything. It's late in the afternoon on our 4th day at Seabury, and the sun is dipping low, painting the world in shades of amber and gold. Daniel and I decide to take a walk along the shoreline, just the two of us, something we haven't done since we got here. The fading light stretches our shadows long and thin across the sand, like ghostly versions of ourselves reaching for the horizon. The rhythmic crash of the waves fills the air, a steady heartbeat that syncs with my own, and I feel the weight of the day melting away. Daniel's hand is in mine, his grip firm yet gentle, his skin slightly rough and calloused from years of handling boat ropes. It's a familiar texture, one I've held 1,000 times, but today it feels heavier somehow, like it's anchoring me to something I can't quite name. We walk in silence for a while. The only sounds the crunch of sand beneath our feet and the relentless push and pull of the tide. The air is thick with the scent of salt, sharp and briny, and I breathe it in deep, letting it fill my lungs. As we move further from the beach house, the world feels quieter, more intimate, like we've stepped into a pocket of time where nothing else exists. Up ahead, I spot a weathered fishing shack, its wood gray and splintered, standing crooked against the backdrop of the sea. It looks ancient, like it's been battered by 100 storms, and as we get closer, I catch the faint smell of decay mingling with the salt, a reminder of things left to rot under the unrelenting gaze of the ocean. Daniel suddenly stops, his hand slipping from mine, and I turn to look at him. His face is unreadable, a mask of shadows in the dying light, and for a moment, I feel a flicker of unease. "Wait here," he says, his voice low, almost swallowed by the sound of the waves. "I'll be right back." Before I can ask why, he's already moving, disappearing around the corner of the shack, his footsteps fading into the sand. I stand there, confused, a knot forming in my stomach. Why would he leave me here like this? I shift my weight from one foot to the other, kicking nervously at the sand, feeling the damp grains stick to my skin like tiny, stubborn reminders of my uncertainty. The minutes stretch on, and I'm about to call out for him when I see a figure step out from behind the shack. It's not Daniel. It's Ryan, his silhouette framed by the last fiery rays of sunlight, his presence so unexpected that my breath catches. He smiles, a slow, knowing curve of his lips that sends a shiver down my spine, and steps closer, his bare feet silent on the sand. I can't move, can't speak, as he closes the distance between us. Without a word, he reaches out, his fingers brushing through my hair, warm and deliberate, sending a jolt of electricity through me that I can't ignore. My heart stumbles, and I'm frozen, locked in his gaze, which is confident, unapologetic, like he's been waiting for this moment just as much as I've been dreading it. Before I can process what's happening, two more figures emerge from the shadows of the shack, Ethan and Marcus. Their forms loom as they approach, the fading light casting sharp angles across their faces. The sound of the waves grows louder now, or maybe it's just the pounding in my chest, a frantic rhythm that drowns out everything else. Ethan's hand finds my arm, his touch tentative at first, testing the waters, before it grows firmer, more assured. Marcus's fingers graze my shoulder, a feather-light brush that somehow feels heavier than it should, igniting a spark I didn't know was there. I'm caught in a storm of sensation, their warmth contrasting with the cool night air that's starting to settle over the beach, the sand shifting underfoot as my balance wavers. My mind screams at me to pull away, to step back, to remember who I am and who I'm with, but my body betrays me, leaning into the moment like it's been caught in a current I can't fight. My breath hitches as the world narrows to the heat of their proximity, the unspoken pull that tugs at every nerve in my body. I'm spiraling, lost in the haze of it all, when a sudden instinct makes me glance over my shoulder. My heart stops dead in my chest. There, a short distance away, half hidden by the shadow of the old fishing shack, stands Daniel. The faint glow of twilight catches his face, illuminating those hazel eyes I've known for years, and I brace myself. I'm waiting for the storm. Anger, hurt, betrayal to twist his features into something unrecognizable. But there's nothing. His expression is calm, almost serene, like the still surface of the ocean hiding depths I can't fathom. His arms are crossed casually over his chest, and he just watches. The others notice him too. Their hands pause on me, lingering in the charged air, their breaths held as they wait for his reaction. My stomach churns, a sickening mix of dread and confusion knotting tighter with every second. I open my mouth, my voice trembling as I stammer, "Daniel, But before I can finish, he cuts me off. His voice is quiet, steady, slicing through the tension like a blade through water. "Keep going," he says. There's no judgment in his tone, no anger, almost an encouragement, a permission I never expected. I'm stunned, my mind reeling as I try to process what I just heard. Keep going? How can he say that? How can he stand there so composed while my world feels like it's shattering and reforming all at once? The others exchange glances, a silent understanding passing between them like a current beneath the surface. Slowly, almost hesitantly at first, they resume, their touches growing more assured, as if Daniel's words have unlocked something they were holding back. I'm caught in a whirlwind of disbelief and a strange, unsettling relief. My body responds, drawn into the rhythm of the moment, even as my mind screams that this is wrong, that I should stop, that I should run. But I don't. I can't. It's like I'm tethered to the sand beneath me, the gritty texture digging into my feet, grounding me in this surreal reality. The waves crash nearby, their relentless roar mirroring the racing pulse hammering in my chest. Each surge of water feels like it's in sync with the chaos inside me, a primal beat that drowns out rational thought. The cool evening air brushes against my skin, contrasting with the warmth surrounding me, and every sensation is heightened to an unbearable edge. I can feel the weight of Daniel's gaze, unyielding, unmoving, as he stands there in the shadows. It's not just watching, it's something more, something heavier, like he's seeing a version of me I didn't even know existed. My thoughts are a tangled mess, snagging on questions I can't answer. Why isn't he angry? Why isn't he stopping this? What does he know that I don't? As the last light of day fades, the world around us shifts into near darkness, the horizon swallowing the final traces of amber and gold. The encounter draws to a close, the group stepping back, their presence receding like the tide pulling away from the shore. I'm left standing there, my breath ragged, chest heaving as if I've just surfaced from underwater. The sand feels colder now under my feet, the air sharper, biting at my exposed skin. I wrap my arms around myself, trying to hold together the pieces of my fractured thoughts. What just happened? It wasn't spontaneous. I can feel it in my bones. There's something orchestrated about this, a hidden design I can't yet grasp. Every look, every touch, every word from Daniel feels like part of a puzzle I'm not ready to solve. I steal a glance at him, still standing by the shack, his silhouette barely visible now in the growing dark. He hasn't moved, hasn't spoken again, but I can feel the weight of his presence like a storm cloud on the horizon, promising something I can't predict. My mind races with possibilities, each one more unsettling than the last. The walk back to the beach house feels like a journey through a dream I can't quite wake from. The night has settled over Seabury, thick and heavy, the kind of darkness that presses against your skin. My bare feet drag through the cool, damp sand, each step slower than the last, as if my body is reluctant to leave behind whatever just unfolded near that old fishing shack. The group has scattered, each of us drifting in different directions without a word, as though we could pretend the last hour didn't happen. But the air between us crackles with unspoken tension, a silent storm brewing beneath the surface. I can still feel the lingering warmth where hands touched me, the ghost of breaths against my skin, and it sends shivers racing down my spine that have nothing to do with the chilly night breeze. Daniel walks beside me, his presence a quiet anchor in the chaos of my thoughts. His shoulder brushes mine every few steps, a subtle reminder that he's there. But he doesn't take my hand, doesn't speak. I steal a glance at him, trying to read his face in the dim moonlight. But his expression is a closed book, his hazel eyes fixed on the path ahead. My mind churns with questions I'm too afraid to ask, each one sharper than the last. What did he mean by keep going? Why did he stand there, watching, without a flicker of anger? The silence between us stretches taut, like a rope about to snap, and I'm not sure if I want to pull it tighter or let it break. We reach the beach house, the peeling blue paint looking almost ghostly under the pale glow of the moon. The others have already disappeared inside or wandered off to the shore, leaving just the two of us to climb the creaky steps to our room. The distant sound of waves filters through the open window as I push the door open, the rhythmic crash a soothing contrast to the storm inside me. I cross the small space and sit on the edge of the bed, my sundress still dusted with sand that clings to the fabric like stubborn memories. My hands tremble in my lap, fingers twisting together as I try to make sense of the night. My chest feels tight, like I'm holding my breath underwater, waiting for the surface to appear. Daniel closes the door behind us with a soft click, the sound somehow louder in the stillness of the room. He moves with that steady, unhurried pace of his, crossing to sit beside me on the bed. The mattress dips under his weight, and I feel the heat of him, close but not touching, a presence that both comforts and unnerves me. I keep my eyes on my hands, watching the way my fingers shake, unable to meet his gaze. The silence lingers, heavy and suffocating, until finally he breaks it. His voice is low, a whisper that seems to vibrate through the air between us. Next time, just under the moonlight, no hiding, he says, each word deliberate, soft but firm, carrying a weight that pins me in place. I freeze, my breath catching in my throat as his words sink in. Next time? My head snaps up, and I meet his eyes for the first time since we left the shack. There's an intensity there I haven't seen in years, a fire in those hazel depths that burns straight through me. It's not anger, not hurt, but something else. Something that looks like anticipation. A quiet thrill that mirrors the dark pulse I felt on the beach when everything spiraled out of control. My heart races, a wild drumbeat in my chest as I search his face for answers. Did he know this would happen? Did he want it? The thought hits me like a wave, cold and overwhelming, dragging me under. He might have planned this, orchestrated every moment, and the realization leaves me reeling. A flood of emotions crashes over me, each one fighting for dominance. There's confusion, sharp and jagged, cutting through my thoughts as I try to piece together how we got here. Guilt follows close behind, a heavy weight that settles in my stomach, whispering that I've crossed a line I can't uncross, that I've betrayed something sacred between us. But beneath the next morning, I wake to the sound of seagulls crying out over the ocean, their sharp calls slicing through the haze of sleep. The air in the room is cool, tinged with the faint, bitter aroma of coffee drifting up from the kitchen below. I lie there for a moment, staring at the ceiling of our rented beach house, the events of last night replaying in my mind like a storm I can't outrun. My body feels heavy, as if the weight of what happened has settled into my bones, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to face the day. But I can't stay here forever, hiding under the thin blanket, so I force myself to sit up, the creak of the bed frame echoing in the quiet. I slip on a light sweater over my pajamas, the fabric soft against my skin, and pad barefoot down the worn wooden stairs. The house feels different this morning, like the walls themselves are holding their breath, waiting to see what comes next. When I step into the kitchen, I see the coffee pot steaming on the counter, but no one's there. My gaze drifts to the window, and I spot Daniel out on the porch, a mug in his hand, his broad shoulders silhouetted against the gray dawn sky. He's staring out at the ocean, his posture relaxed, as if the world hasn't shifted beneath us. I hesitate for a heartbeat, my fingers tightening around the edge of the counter, before I pour myself a cup and step outside to join him. The salty breeze hits me as soon as I open the door, cool and sharp, carrying the endless rhythm of the waves. Daniel doesn't turn as I approach, but I know he hears the soft thud of my footsteps on the weathered boards. I settle beside him, leaning against the railing, the warmth of the coffee mug seeping into my palms. The silence between us is thick, heavy with everything we haven't said, but it's not uncomfortable. It's like we're standing on the edge of something vast, peering into depths we can't fully see. I steal a glance at him, and my breath catches when I notice the faint curve of his lips, a small, almost secret smile that flickers to life as he senses my eyes on him. It's gone as quickly as it came, but it leaves a warmth in my chest I don't know how to name. My mind is a tangle of conflicting thoughts as I sip my coffee, the bitter taste grounding me while my emotions churn. Part of me is ashamed, haunted by how easily I let myself get swept away last night, how I surrendered to a moment I never saw coming. I feel the sting of guilt, sharp and persistent, like a splinter under my skin, reminding me of the vows I've always held close. But there's another part of me, quieter but just as real, that's exhilarated by the memory. The way my pulse raced, the heat of forbidden touches, and most of all, Daniel's unexpected reaction. Calm, almost approving, as if he'd been waiting for me to step over that line. And then there are his words, whispered in the dark of our room, about a next time. That promise lingers in the air like the salt on the breeze, both a threat and a thrill, pulling me in two directions at once. The rest of the trip unfolds in a strange, suspended reality, every moment tinged with the undercurrent of what happened. Over breakfast, Ryan catches my eye across the table, his smirk knowing, sharp as a blade, as he passes me the butter. It's a small gesture, but it feels loaded, like he's testing the waters, seeing how I'll react. I keep my expression neutral, focusing on the clink of my fork against the plate, but my cheeks burn under his gaze. Ethan, as always, is quieter, but I feel his glances, brief and piercing, like he's trying to read something in me I'm not ready to show. He lingers near me while we clear the dishes, his arm brushing mine as he reaches for a plate, and I flinch at the contact, my nerves still raw. Marcus, on the other hand, fills the silences with his usual loud jokes. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.